Hey, welcome back to the channel. Got a little something on the bench for you here. Working on Propsoff power ring is what I'm calling it. So got a little something that looks like this. Should be quite interesting. Trying out some new stuff on the channel. I got behind me here. I no longer am using a green screen, so I finally got my area kind of fixed up. It's like we got a commercial rolling already. Really? I have that disabled, by the way. Well, anyway, yeah, so just gonna do an audio check, make sure you can hear me all right. Then we're gonna jump over to the bench. We're gonna put together one of these. Gonna go through a couple other things that we use for gates. So this would be like your LED whoop gates, things of that nature. So what do you think about the new studio? This is my first live stream with the new setup. Kind of rearranged some things so that basically I was facing that way and now I'm facing this way, so it's a little a little interesting for me. Yeah, wow, this is like a never-ending commercial there. All right, so hopefully my audio is coming through. Looks like there might be a couple people in chat. Let's see if I can change this to all. Yeah, so just before we get started on the, before we get started tinkering with this, so before I was using just a green screen behind me, and my area was quite small, so I've thrown some bunch of stuff in the trash and made some room. So now I have a little bit more workspace. My son can sit here behind me and work on a few things as well. And so yeah, just kind of got a little bit more open. The other thing is it's taken a pretty sizable load off of the computer, so that's good. I would like to possibly get a desktop style graphics, not a gaming. I don't really game that much, just something graphics for like desktop. Because right now I'm running it on something else, so I can't have all kinds of different features or different screens. So like the production value is kind of limited on what the computer can handle. Getting rid of the chroma key and all of the load that took is definitely helping out. So hopefully that works out. Yeah, we'll check back with chat here in a second. Let's go ahead and jump over to the bench. All right, so hopefully my audio is coming through good. So on the bench here, that's another thing, rearranging things. It makes it a little bit easier for me to kind of grab everything that I want to show you. So in case you had a question about something that you've seen on my channel, I can answer that question a little bit easier. So this is something that I call a Propsoff power ring. So basically it's just the ground and positive of multiple XT60s. These XT60s are male and female, male, female, all the way around. I've made quite a few of these. This is one of my smaller ones. Planning on building another one here for you. So I have a pile of XT60s. For the XT60s, I just want to share one thing with you. If you go searching for XT60s, you want to find, let me get a close up here. So on the inscription here, you'll see it says AMAS. Okay, those are the ones that seem to do the best. Had a lot of issues with some of the off-brand ones, so not so much the female side. The female side seems to be all right. It's mostly the male side. The pins squish in real easy, so then the connection's not being made very well, and you go to put like a sharp blade or something to spread those out so you get a tighter connection, and they'll break off. So I've not had very much luck with some of the off-brand, so I'm making sure that I purchase the AMAS XT60s. Let me zoom back out for you here. So hopefully that'll be helpful. All right, so the first thing is we're just looking at this. You see, it looks like it appears to be just raw and open, but that's not the fact. I actually have an epoxy coating the copper rings and the end of the XT60s. It's a little more of a process, but it's just such a clean look, and you don't have to worry that epoxy is pretty strong, so you don't have to worry too much about anything grounding out or shorting out your two lines here. As you know, I've shown this on my channel. This is my power supply that I use for Whoop charging. So there's a video on my channel already of 1S Whoop charging. So I kind of show what this is. But this is a 12 volt, 15 amp out. And that's how I power some of the LEDs that I have. Also, so from this power supply, I make these extension cables. So Buckeye FPV Racing and Gaps Training Ground have an insatiable need for cables. We have lots and lots of these. I thought about doing a video on how to make this cable, but basically it's just an XT60, and then it's soldered onto, this is like a lamp. This is kind of an important thing. It's a heavy lamp cord, so it lays flat on the floor. So when you unroll it, it wants to lay flat. It doesn't want to bunch up and turn into a nest of wire that catches your quads when they're flying. There's nothing worse than putting on some sort of competition and everybody's flying around and you crash on the floor, bobble around a little bit, and the next thing you know, oh, I just noticed I didn't transition that screen. Well, that's a bummer. Hold on a second. There we go. Let's go back over to the bench. All right, so I guess we'd have to scratch what I just said. Pardon me, I'm kind of getting new studio vibes. Let me start over because I don't think I showed what I was wanting to show. So this is a Propsoff power ring, and here's the the positive and negative on the power ring. This is epoxied, so there's no way for it to short out. Here's my power supply. So this is 12 volt power supply at 15 amps. So, and from the XT60, from the power supply, I have an extension wire. I made a lot of these for the club, and basically it's just an XT60 on a lamp cord, and the lamp cord connects to the XT60. Okay, let me zoom in for you here a little bit. This is kind of a thing, like a trial and error over time. You kind of figure these things out. But in here, I put a little bit of hot glue between these 2 points. I just take and cut the hot glue just cut the hot glue with one of these and make like a corkscrew shape, and then I feed that in between there. I try not to pull the insulation apart very far, just enough. And then solder those on so you have your positive and your negative side. Little hot glue in here, and then I mark the length of the wire so you have like a silver paint marker, so that way when you go to grab one, you know this is 10 foot. And then this heat shrink tubing is pretty important because it has a very thick. It's very robust. The hot glue seals this connection so you don't have any corrosion happening in here. It also glues this all together, and it turns into a really nice strain relief, so you can see that your wires aren't going to break off here. So this is the best way that I found to put together an extension cable. And of course I've made, I don't know, dozens of these at 25 foot, 15 foot, 10 foot, 5 foot, and 2.5 foot. So that's basically what I do. And then we plug. What's really nice about this setup is that no matter which end you have, so if you have let me zoom out for you here. So if you have, a gate that's far off to the right and you have another gate that's far off to the left, when you come in to that gate from the Propsoff power ring, it doesn't matter which end you have. So you can, it just makes it a lot faster. You're not having to make sure that this is the end that you take to the gate or this is the end that you take to the gate. So the ring helps with that. You don't have to use as many wires. You can daisy chain a lot easier using this. So it's really nice to have it. So your LEDs would be, in this case, for this power supply, this setup here, your LEDs are 12 volt. And you can string a lot of 12 volt LEDs together. Let me make sure I have chat pulled up here. Sometimes it doesn't want to keep up. Looks like we don't have anybody in chat. Thursday afternoon, 2:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Might be a slow time for people to come hang out. But anyway, so you have your male and your female and your male and your female, your male and your female. So in this case, we're going to build a ring that's going to house 7 of these. So this ring here is a 6 ring, 6 connection ring. I'm going to build a 7 connection ring. So what you do is just get you a piece of Romex. This is just standard 20 amp Romex. I like the 20 amp Romex because of the strength of the wire. You can take the ground out of the center. So your fault ground wire. So there's 3 wires in here. You take your fault ground out of the center. So you have something like this, right? So it's just bare copper. And then I grab whatever size circle. If I want to do a 10 ring, if I want to do 10 of these, or if I just want to do 4 of these, I'll grab the circle that's kind of sizable for that. So you can see here, a 6 ring is quite small. I'm going to go ahead and use this small container here. I've also used things like that, you know, like the Buckeye FPV challenge coin. Pretty awesome, huh? Is that really cool or what? Oh, you can't see the back of it, kinda. See that says the Paddock Pub? That's pretty awesome, isn't it? You could take something like that, but basically you just take your copper wire on something that's hard enough, and you just wrap that dude around there. Just squeeze it around, get it nice and rounded for you, and then you can see you have something like that. Or you can wrap it around something like this. I like to straighten it back out a little bit, and you just twist it around there. It's a little easier when you have a little bit longer wire, so you can kind of use those ends of the wire as leverage. But I do like using the 20 amp Romex because of the strength of it. So once you solder this ring to the XT60s, this thing, I mean, it's not moving. It's really durable. We've thrown these across the room onto the floor, stepped on them. They are somewhat indestructible once you have all those connections made. So then after we get done with that, like I said, we could take that ground out of here. You can also strip so you have the insulated wire in here. So you have a black and a white insulated wire in there. You could take a X-Acto knife and just kind of cut the sheathing on it a little bit and just pull it out. I'm just going to pull this dude out. So now we have a nice fresh piece of bare copper. Like I said, you can just wrap that dude around here. And just pull it tight. That's what I said. It's nicer to have longer ends here because you can kind of get leverage on it to get it. But you want to make sure that your rings are identically sized. So make sure that both rings are identical, because when we lay them onto our XT60s to solder them up, we want them to be, you know, the same size ring on both sides. Check in with chat here, see if anybody. Hey Dave, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. It's kind of a unique live stream because this is my first live stream with my new studio. I guess if you want to call it a studio. So I have a few changes that I've made and put some stuff in the background. So I need to utilize more XT60s in my camping power gear. Yeah, the XT60 seems to be the way to go when it comes to, you know, just size to pull it apart. Makes a lot. Ditch the 2-pin. See, connectors. Yeah. We're learning to make fire today. Chris Reese, what's up, man? How you doing? How's my audio? Is it audio coming through all right? Patchy Smoke, how's it going? I'm doing good. I'm optimistic. I'm feeling really good about this because the load that the chroma key was putting on this computer was pretty gnarly. So it's nice to see that the computers and the fans haven't even kicked on yet. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Yeah, Chris says we're going to start a fire. Yeah, so I accidentally in the beginning of the live stream was showing everything, but I didn't have my camera turned on. So here on the bench, I'll show you. These two rings are insulated by epoxy. So you just take some UV epoxy and just kind of brush it on, and then hit it with the light. Do another coating, hit it with the light, and then you can just simply take a multimeter, do a little check, put it in one of the ports, slide it around the ring, make sure there's no exposed areas. If there is, you just hit it with some more epoxy. But it turns out really cool looking. It's kind of like that. I don't know. I just kind of like the exposed wire look. It's kind of cool. Camera looks better and audio's good. Chris, I appreciate that, man. Looks and sounds good, Apache Smoke. Thank you. Spark proof. Yes. Yep. They've been working out pretty good. I believe that we have. So we had them at the museum race. We've had them at dozens of Buckeye races, and every Friday night at the training grounds, with no issues with any type of spark or fire. Trad, how's it going? What's the use of this? Looks good. Yeah, so real quick, just to reiterate, because I kind of feel bad I didn't have my camera pointed down to the bench earlier. I was kind of just talking directly to you and not showing you. But this is a 12-volt supply, 15 amps, so it can run. I run about 8 or 9 LED gates off of it, and then XT60 out, and then I have a extension cable that connects to that, and then I can put my power ring wherever I want, and then I can have all of these extension cords running off of this to different gates. So the Propsoff power ring has come in really handy, and I thought I'd make one. And while I was making one, I thought I would, because this is another load of extension wires I'm gonna give to the club, and I thought, well, I'll make another one of these dudes because they're so convenient to have. So, like I said, you can make them at any size you want. You can have as many of these on here as you want. It's a good idea to make sure that you use the AMAS branded, because the off brands I've just had so many issues with. So I used this to make my rings. So I have them. Now we'll just go in here and we're going to find the center. So wherever our leverage points were to make the circle nice and smooth, we're just going to find the center of that and go ahead and cut that dude. And now we have a nearly perfect ring. We're just going to have to give it a little, we're just going to have to flatten it out a little bit. I have a pair of jeweler's pliers here. Jeweler's pliers, the only difference is it doesn't have the a regular pair of pliers has the knurlings. It's a gnarled surface. And then these jeweler's pliers, they don't have that. That's smooth. And then some of them actually are rounded instead of having a flat edge. That's the difference of that. So I'm just going to make sure this dude's nice and flat. If it's not, I'm just going to give it a little, that's pretty flat. We'll go ahead and get this other one cut here. So we're just going to find the best point where it comes together. We'll get these out of the way. Yeah, this Romex you can get, you can buy it by the foot at Home Depot, I believe. Or you used to be able to. So let's get our ring here. Obviously, if you have any other questions, something you've seen on the channel, throw it in chat and I'll try to explain that as well. It's more or less like hanging out. seeing how I make these dudes, in case you wanted to make one yourself. Gonna make sure that's flat. Something else that's really cool for the studio I just made. This is a foot switch. So it has an LED light on it, so you could see. This actually had an LED light on when it was off and on, so I went in and rewired it, so I only have the LED on when it's activated, so that's off, so there's no power going to it, and then that's on, so it's kind of hard with the studio lights, but you can see the LEDs inside. So when I activate, or when I power this in, the LEDs are on. So when I walk away and I leave my soldering iron plugged in, I can look over and see this illumination and know that my soldering iron's still powered up. And then of course I just cut, this is just a regular foot switch. I went ahead and cut the cord so I could fit it exactly on the bench where I wanted it. So now when I plug in my soldering iron here, I don't have to worry about walking away and have that thing on for like 2 days, you know? This is good, Bob Ross, FPV tinkering. Yeah. Yeah, I've had the Bob Ross thing come up a few times. It's the thing about the FPV hobby for me is just it's mostly relaxing. I mean, unless you're like in some sort of competitive race or something, or trying to beat the tail off one of your buddies, you know. But other than that, it's pretty. This is the space where you go to kind of like let the world wash away for a moment. Can I use my radio link F722 flight controller for stable flights on an S500 frame? S500 frame. I had to look up S500 frame. S500, is that a hexacopter? You're talking about an S500. No, that's a 550. S500 hexacopter frame. I mean, it really it depends on your mounting point, if it's 30 by 30 or. Yeah, you have to tell me what is the mounting point for your, because I know like the S500. I'm not familiar with that frame, but some of them are mounting points for like Pixie Hawk and stuff like that. So it depends on if that frame has 30 by 30 mounting, because the GEP RC F722 should be 30 by 30. Depends on, or Radio Link, sorry, Radio Link F722. That's all you have to do, right? Make sure that those two match up. For 2 days. Too close FPV, how's it going? Run a few 5-volt LED gates with individual power supplies on ESP32. So each also has 3.3 converter. I feel like 12-volt system may have been easier if you can run 8 separate gates from one. Yeah. Yeah, the 12-volt system. So like right now behind me, my personal system. Let me change over here. So like my personal system here, I have these are 24 volt plugs you plug in, and then you have a controller here, and you have like your something simple like that. That's something I'm running at home. And then of course I've got a central 24 volt power supply that can run everything. And then I have, gates like that. This is just an extension LED, so I can run it across the floor if I want. But yeah, running 5 volt. I've ran 5 volt in the past. 12 volt seems to be, you know, 12 volt seems to be the way to go. It just I believe the reason why, or if I could guess why the 12 volt is so much better than other options, is because the car audio scene. There's so much 12 volt, direct 12 volt supply out there. So it's easy to get a hold of. It's usually cheaper. And then, of course, when you're when you're daisy chaining multiple gates off of each other, it works out. Now, for soldering the rings, I'm going to use this tinning flux. This is just standard stuff you get from Home Depot. But keep in mind, this has an acid in it. It has an acid etch in it, and it will corrode your stuff. So after you finish the power ring, you have to go wash the power ring with soap. And then I usually just put a little bit of alcohol on it to help it dry out. Once it's dry, then I epoxy it. But for soldering purposes, I like to use this product because, as you can see here, this connection, you see how old that is? See how corroded? It's not really corroded, but it's tarnished. This acid etch tinning flux will completely clean that. So I just put it all over where I'm going to be soldering. Put a nice little blob there. So you can see it's coated now. And then I'll take all of my flat side. So you have your female and you have your male. Okay. I'll take all of my male flat side. So I'm going to do 4 of them. I like to do 4 or more because it holds the ring in place. Once you get the first ring tacked in, then you can go and put the other side on. It kind of holds it on the bench for you, basically. So I'll go ahead and make sure that all of my, see how all of the L shapes, so you can see right here on the back, kind of has a cutout like an L shape. I'll make sure they're facing up on both sides. If they're not, I'll, like this one's just a little bit skewed, I'll just rotate him. The pins rotate in the casing with no issue. So now you can see here that the cutouts are facing out on both sides. Sorry. S22 quadcopter or S500 quadcopter. What's that big boy in the background on the wall? That big boy on the back in the background there. That one up there. That's the rescue drone. That's a 8-inch rescue drone. I carry a jug of milk with that dude at 65 mile an hour. I built that in 2018 because I was just lazy, I guess. So when we were racing up at this field where like the forest gate, I don't know, man, it was like a quarter mile away, and the grass was really thick and really dense. It was like hay, farmers hay. And instead of like having to walk out and get it every time, I would go ahead and I had a real pit on all my quadcopters, race drones. So I would just flip the switch, kill the VTX on the race drone, and then the rescue drone was on the same frequency, so I wouldn't interrupt anybody else that was racing. And then I could fly out and go get my drone and bring it back. So I didn't have to walk all the way out in the field every time. Because I'll tell you what, I'm a professional crasher, so it was like a daunting thing. I'd get 1 lap in and then crash. So I was always sitting in the grass, and it was always at the furthest point, or I'd hit the gate and it would just, go another 1,000 feet. So it was kind of nice. It was a neat project. I thought it might bring some value to the channel. Doesn't seem like anybody understood it though, so go ahead and jump back over here. Do you have some videos on your 12-volt setups? I do on the power supply. if we were to go here, we can let me just kind of show here real quick. Make sure. Let me show you a video real quick of what it looks like. So I'll go over here to my channel, and then so like right here. So like this is what you accomplish with what we're doing here. This is what it's like at a Buckeye FPV race. This is a GAPS training ground and Buckeye FPV race collaboration. So we have 50 amp 12 volt power supply running the whole one side. We have another one on the other side. However, a 50 amp 12 volt power supply can run all of it on its own, because we're only talking about maybe 8 to 12 amps for the whole setup, and that includes the 8-way timer. But this is what we're looking at here. Yeah, I forgot about the rescue drone. Yeah, I haven't had the rescue drone out in a while. I don't have remote ID, and that thing is big, mean, and it definitely attracts attention. So I got to get a remote ID module for it before I go running around. This is a cool video. You guys, I don't know if you had a chance to check it out or not, but this is the Whoop House when we were at the museum. Let me go ahead and I'll let this play for just a second because it's only a minute long, but I'm gonna pause it right where I'm at for the gate so you can kind of see. Oh, has anyone noticed my end roll? Check out my new end roll. Isn't that cool? Hypnos FPV made that end roll for me, like just the graphic part at the end there. Let me go ahead and find where I have like almost all the gates in view. Let me pause it here. All right, so basically, if you look at the floor, you can see all the extension cords, and then each gate is powered by one of these extension cords. Or in some cases, we have two gates placed together. So like right in here, we would have these two gates connected together. But yeah, having multiple lengths of extension cords, and then the Propsoff power ring really makes it nice, because right here's a power ring, and then we have like just spidering from it to go to the different gates. So you don't have to use as many extension cords, and you don't have to use as many long length extension cords. So it really does make it nice. Let me see here. Get out of full screen. I want to get back to that S500 frame, so bear with me here. I need to look up some information on that, though. You still with me? Triad, you still the S500 quadcopter, do you know what the mounting point is? So like, for example, turn off studio mode here. So like something like this, you'd have your mounting point. So this frame takes a 30 by 30. So if you measure from here to here, it's 30 millimeters. And from here to here, it's 30 millimeters. That's what you need to know. The mounting point for that flight controller from Radio Link, and then your S500 quad, you just need to make sure that it has correct mounting points. This is one of my favorite 5-inch frames. I mean, this is a collaboration of a lot of people. That's the Source One V3. Super cool. All right. see on the, you have some videos on the 12-volt setup. That the question that you have, I kind of do have a couple videos that kind of look at it or whatever, but I don't have a specific. I could make a full video if I get a hold of one of our gates and bring it home and then kind of go through it all. Make sure chat's following us here. I've already been scolded once about that. So what I like to do is I just place these in an X pattern. I usually put that cutout right there. I'll put that on top of the XT60. That way I can solder it in, and that way the ring is one piece. So we're just going to weld all this up. I mean, you can eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to, obviously this ring could be a little bit smaller. I might add in another male. So I'm just going to tack these dudes in real quick. We'll push our iron up to like 300 degrees Celsius. All we're doing is melting solder. We're not trying to like heat this entire ring up. So go ahead and straighten this dude up. We're going to go ahead and get our solder on here. We're just going to put a nice little ball. Go ahead and touch that dude right there. You can kind of hear when you're doing this, you can hear the solder. I'll get that one. And then looks like there's quite a bit on here. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more flux to this so it doesn't take so long to put on. Go ahead and get this. Now that it's warmed up, we can melt a little bit of that on there. Go ahead and get a nice sized ball of solder on there. I'm not worried about putting a lot on here right now. I just want to get the ball of solder to kind of attach to the ring and part of the XT60, because we're just tacking it right now. Then we're going to flip it over and we're going to really go at the other side. Go ahead and get some more in here. But like I said, this solder has an acid etch in it, so you have to wash it off when you're done, or your copper is going to turn green, corrode. So I'm just touching the copper and the XT60 at the same time. You see that? Do I need to turn it so you can see it? Ooh. I'll tack that dude on there. Trying to film this. I'm not wanting to put my head in front of the camera so you block your view. The biggest thing you want to do is just make sure that your polarity is the same on both sides. Yeah, sometimes and of course you don't want to put so much solder on it that it drips or drools onto the connector below. So now that we have all four of them just kind of tacked in place, because we're not going to put any more heat on that ring, we can flip it over and then place our ring on the other side. we'll put the where it was cut. We're going to put that cut spot right there, opposite of the other one. So we have our cut is on that side, so we're going to put it on the opposite side. I'll just go ahead and push this down in here. Oops. That bad boy popped off there. It's okay. So just have a little tension on those. I'll get this third one back in shape here. We'll just use these three to clamp this top one here. And this one here, we're going to go ahead and solder him as fully in as possible. Okay. Then we're going to bump our heat up just a little bit. Go to 380. And now we'll go ahead and cinch these in all the way. We don't want to sit on it too long because we don't want to melt the housing. And then I'm just going to give one last little coat here. This is just for looks. Make sure it's a nice smooth joint. So you can see, but you don't want to put so much solder on that it drips down into the one below. You know, you don't really need that much solder. And once you get all of these connected, it makes a strong, the ring is pretty strong. Just gonna coat that dude up a little bit. So you get that in there like that. Yeah, without the etching flux, this wouldn't work out too well. It would just bead off. It would just, the solder would just ball off. Sometimes we need to pick them up here and give them a couple little taps to make sure that. Then we'll just give it a little ball on the head there, just to smooth it out. That way that it just has a nice look at the end of it. And then of course we're not wanting to heat it up too much. We don't want those pins to have an issue. I'll put this in here and make sure our polarity is correct. It doesn't have to be, completely perfectly. I mean, you can mark it and you can be really particular about it if you want. Get all the junk off my tip there. Now we'll grab a final ball here. Go ahead and fix this other side real quick. Oh, see, that's dry. I could, as soon as I touched it, I could see the solder start to waller up on it. So let's go ahead and get that, redo that end. Gotta make sure that has plenty of flux on there. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up balling it up, heating it up, burning it. Go ahead and get our ball of solder back on here. Put it right in that joint. Can you hear the Rice Krispies? I don't know. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? That flux in there. Turn this dude over and give it a couple taps. Tap it in. So now it'll look nice and neat when you epoxy it. Because I'll wash this with soap and water and then clean and buff it. All right, so we have our 4 done. So now we have all of our males completed. And we have our polarity. So we have our positive side or negative side. And then you can take a black marker and mark the negative side once you get it all done. I didn't do it to this one. Check in with chat here. A little box that these sit in would be pretty cool, like a circle box that has spaces for the XT60s to stick out. Hockey puck. Yeah, a little 3D printed. They would have to be custom to each one since they're handmade. You'd have multiple sizes. I thought about doing a really crazy ring, but I don't have enough XT60s, so I'm just going to go ahead and I debate about leaving a space to put another one in, but I don't know. I guess I ain't too worried about it. So now we got those all done. Make sure this ain't too hot to grasp. I just need to give it a little bit of, just gonna push and make sure those are lined up. Don't want to deform it, but I don't want it to not be completely lined up there. Then we can add in our other XT60s. We want to just make sure that our polarity is correct. So all of our positives and negatives. And then we'll go ahead and flux our ends here. Get plenty of goo on there. And get our solder ready. Grab our solder here. Anybody got any flooding issues going on right now? We had a massive amount of rain last night. I mean, it was terrible. I just put the positive end on there. Nobody said nothing. Can't believe nobody said anything to me that I was soldering that dude backwards like that. Get that out of there, out the wick. Wick the solder off that XT60 now. I was busy thinking about whether or not you guys could see what I was doing and soldered it upside down. Did you see that? Get some. Horrible. Horrible that I would do such a thing. Yeah, it's kind of a slow day for my channel, I guess. Thursday, late afternoon. There. Got a nice looking joint on that side. Got all the positives going the right way now. That always makes you feel a little better. See if I can center that dude up for you. more on here since we hit it earlier. I like it to be just kind of, I like it to have, I'm not real worried about looks, but I do like to have it look kind of neat because I keep the solder exposed. Go ahead and get this one all cleaned up. Okay. Go ahead and get this one all done up. Get some more flux on there. Yeah, anytime, especially when you're dealing with old brass and old copper and stuff, you gotta have some good flux on there. See if we can get a look at what our progress here. I'll end up using quite a bit of epoxy on this ring, huh? Go ahead and grab another one. Let's make sure our polarity is correct before we put it on the ring. How about that? just to make sure. We don't want to overheat that, so we'll let that sit for a second. We'll come back and put it in. Good. Yeah, if you now that you mention it, if you had like a little 3D print, you wouldn't necessarily need to use the epoxy because you'd have your little box or case would insulate it from being shorted out on something. Because even at 12 volt, 50 amp, if you short it out, it's going to cause some problems. All right, that's done. We'll come back to this one here. Put a little cap on it. There. Go ahead and grab another one here. I might get another one and put in there. Unfortunately, I'm running out of the female XT60s. For some reason, I have a whole pile of male, and then only just a few females left. All right, so iron's up to about 360 really, 360 Celsius. Get our lava solder on here. Solder likes to follow the heat. So if you place it wherever you want, and then wherever you take that heat, that's where that solder is going to go. Same thing with doing like plumbing. Nice and neat there. Gotta like that. So now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and put another one right here. I hate to use up another one, but that ring just seems like we need to make it even. So we'll go ahead and get another one. And for anybody that just got here, let me see here. Yeah, for anybody that just got here, you want to make sure that you get the ones that say that actually has the AMAS stamped into it, okay, with the trademark, so that you're not buying the I don't know, generic cheaper ones. This side's usually not the issue. It's the male side that's the issue. So those pins in there, see how they got the separations? Those pins on the generic ones will eventually squeeze in and then they fall out of the female. And then when you go to spread them back out, they snap off. The AMAS ones, they don't seem to have that issue. I mean, of course, the more you use it, the looser it'll get. But with AMAS, I've never had a problem with them snapping off. You can just kind of stick a knife down in there and spread those pins out a little bit. Separate them back into 4 individual pins, and they won't. And the AMAS, they don't seem to snap off of there. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this last one. Then hopefully my boy at Gaps Training Ground, FPV Gaps, will like this ring. That's who it's for. Happy birthday, TJ. Make them, isn't that nice? You get a Propsoff power ring for your birthday. Why not? Trying to, I think, so I've made so many changes to the studio. I think I need to move my camera that way a little bit more. But I ain't worry about it right now. All right. I'm going to put a little more solder on there, but I think that might be okay. All right. So take a look at this ring all the way around. Make sure we don't have any. Oh, right there. Forgotten joint. If it makes it easier for you, you can solder these in a more upright position, so you can solder them like that. That might make it easier for you, but I don't. I kind of like to have that rounded, smooth joint. Kind of get that by dried out there. You see that? See how that got all dry and nasty? Ain't no way that solder is gonna work like that. There we go. All right, so nice little rounded edge. There we go. Okay. So we got all our XT60s on there. We'll make sure all positive on this side. Yep. All negative on that side. Yep. So now the next step is go ahead and turn our soldering iron down. Go ahead and jump back over here to get chat back in the window. Anybody out there? For some reason, I don't see that the chat is allowing certain chat through. So like I said, to go ahead and show it. I seen you came in and you said kinky. For some reason, YouTube didn't let that through. And I went ahead and approved it to come into chat, and it didn't. It says another moderator handled it, but I don't have any other moderators. So Hey, what are you making? I am making, welcome in. I'm making a Propsoff power ring. So let me jump back over here to the bench. So I have these, this is my little mini one I carry in my bag in case I need it. But these are just great for everything, but this is used for lighting up LED gates on a track. I could do, actually, I have a track walkthrough. Let me turn off my soldering iron. Let me pull that up real quick. I think you might like it. It's a short, so it ain't gonna take very long to watch it. But you can see a lot more of the track that way. Let me go to shorts. Let me go ahead and jump over to the internet. Jump over here and check that out real quick. So like here's my track walk. Is that not full screen? Oh, it does. Okay. So like, it's kind of hard to see in there. Well, there you go. You kind of see it right here on the floor. We have a power supply and then a Propsoff ring and then a bunch of cables coming off of that. And that's what it's powering. It's the Propsoff ring keeps you from having to use so many cables. Let me see if yeah. So we come around the corkscrew and then in here. Let me pause it if it. All right. So, well, it's kind of hard. I keep moving. There's one of the rings on the floor there over here. So you can just spider web it off. That's what it's for. But this whole section is being ran by one power supply. And then we have all these LED controllers that have two. You have an in and an out XT60 on it. I meant to look to see if the audio is playing in this. I don't think it is, but that's okay. You can watch it later. Jump out of full screen mode here. So yeah, that's what it's doing. It's running all the LED gates off a power supply. So we have a new one. So now I need to take this up to the sink and get some hot soapy water to wash off this. We don't want that to be left on there because this copper will corrode, and we don't want that. So we'll get it all nice and cleaned and shined up. All the gooey stuff that's on there, we'll get that all scrubbed, and then wait until it's completely dry. And then I'll take some UV epoxy and I'll coat all of the exposed connections so that we can use it, and it'll look like this, when it's done. And yeah, that's it for the Propsoff power ring. Yeah, this is really handy. I tell you what, this is something that turned out real well. Just got a little, turn the soldering iron on, turn it off, and then it has an LED in there. It's not bright here in the studio lighting, but it's bright enough for me to know that I left my soldering iron. When I walk away from my area here, I can look back once I have all these lights off, and I can see that, oh, I left my soldering iron turned on. You always think you're going to remember something like that, but there's times I've walked down here and I'm like, man, what's that smell? I forgot. Huh, that's weird. I see your twans, Miss Dawn. How you doing, Miss Dawn? For some reason, YouTube blocked twan, and for some reason, it won't let me admin it on. So it looks like Too Close FPV. Do you have some videos on that? Oh, yep, I already read that. Forgot about that. All right. Just kept catching up on chat. Weird. Yeah, yeah. So let weird go through. I don't know. Uh, that's weird. That is weird. It wouldn't let me either. And it says another moderator had already approved it for some reason. But so, Miss Dawn, what do you think about no more Chrome key, no more green screen? Uh, I know it ain't the most spectacular, but I like it. Got everything rearranged. I was kind of like this was uh the old area where I did all of my stuff. So I found this table in the trash and I put a piece of plywood on it. But now I have this desk that I've added on to the end of this. But this was where everything was filmed, so I was facing the wall. Now I'm facing the basement, so I don't have to deal with the chrome key and the green screen and everything. So I'm super excited about that. Setup looks good. Appreciate it. Yeah, so a little bit big. It doesn't need to be that big, but kind of makes it easier to find in the box. So that's why I wanted to make it a little bigger. I originally was going to go that big on the power ring, but I went ahead and did that big. So about 30-40% reduction in size from what I was going to do, but it'll be a lot easier to find in the crate. There's a lot of stuff in there. How can it divide? I know it denied the twans. I don't understand. It's crazy. Nice and bright. Drones look sweet and might be base, but I spy ripple on the shelf. A rippy on the shelf. You spied the rippy? Yes, indeed. There it is. There it is. Got my FPV Rippy. First place 2024 micro category. I don't know if you can see I got that up there too. Yes, indeed. Definitely got to show that off. Every time I come in to work on the bench, you gotta have all your stuff. I got a couple other things hanging up there, multi-GP stuff as well. Got my Buckeye FPV. I've won a couple races. Got that dude right there. That's from the IO International Open in Muncie, Indiana. I ended up getting first place. I was volunteering full time that year, and I didn't know I won. Trying to see what year it was. Happy RC Flyer, how's it going? Good to see you in here. Did you enjoy the museum race quite well? Yeah, first place. Did I get this year's? Yeah, I did win the Rippies along with Mako Reactor. No, I haven't received anything this year. It may be at the Postal Service. I haven't made it there yet. I'm not even sure if I can get there. The road might be flooded, so I'll have to check. But I might go check tonight just to see if it's there. Yeah, I'll get my stuff to the post office. Yeah. Yeah, we had quite a bit of rain last night. I had about a 4-foot river running right through the front yard, and it kept creeping up towards the garage, which worried me because I didn't want because there's gravel base there at the front of the garage, which goes to the foundation. So I thought if that water got all the way to the garage, it would go into the foundation and like swamp out my sump pump. So last night I was out there digging a trench with a shovel through the driveway to kind of divert it away from the house. Yeah, it was great meeting you too. I seen your video. Looked pretty cool. A little behind the scenes action. You're still editing? Yeah. I hate editing. I hate to say it, but I've done more live streams lately because I feel like a little bit more personable connection. But it does kind of keep me from having to spend so much time editing because I have only so many hobby hours and burning them up doing editing, you know. It really sucks when you do like a 6-day video and 26 hours of editing and you only get 220 views. It's all part of it though, right? Oh, you're going to post the interview you did with me? Oh, that'd be cool. I'd like to see it. I always wonder how silly I look. You know, I don't know if you're like that, but when I watch myself back, I look kind of silly. Sometimes I do it just to make sure I didn't say something wrong or. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Happy RC Flyer was at the United States Air Force Museum race there, and he did an interview with me. So check out his channel for that interview. Yeah, I always want to be flying. I got a couple things I've been really, as you know, the Gavs Training Ground guys had gifted me. I don't want to really touch anything because I don't have. Actually, you know what I do? I got a towel right here and some alcohol. Let me get some alcohol in my hands because I got that etch on me. I don't want that on my gear. So let me go ahead and clean that up. So as you know, they got me the DJI Goggles 3, which I've been kind of playing around with and trying to learn what I can. I put that on one of my Super Dupers back here. So the 5-inch Super Duper, and the weather's been terrible, so I haven't been out flying those yet. So I made one of these. So this is the 04, 75 millimeter 04. And I got to take this out the other day before it started raining, finally. So I did my antenna mod. I have a video on my channel on how to do it. So I did the internal, the little red wire antenna that comes on these flight controllers. These Whoop flight controllers are garbage. I hope you can see that. Let me see if I can put it there. See how that receiver antenna is sticking out of there? And then, of course, the DJI 04 antenna. So this thing went probably, I'm going to say maybe quarter to 2/3 mile. I had a building between me and it and had no issues. It was like negative 97 on the RSSI DBM. So really amazed at the range of this little dude. And it's fun. I'm not a fan of these motors. These are T-Hobby 0802 27,000 kV motors. Not a fan of the motors. They're not efficient. I've tried tuning on them. They're not very efficient. The kV's too high for this type of build. It's not that I dislike the motor, but I will say one thing: I've snapped 3 shafts off of them, and I haven't had any issue with shaft breakage in a long time. So, but that 04 on that build is super fun, indoor, outdoor. Of course, it can't be too windy. Let me push my. Do I need to push my microphone back a little bit now that I've kind of scooted up here to answer questions and to hang out for just a minute before I get going? That's what we built. So if you want to review, this is what we built for the people who just stepped in. Just a cruiser. Or if latency would be hard on you since yeah, you know, that you bring up a good point. Happy RC Flyer, you bring up a really good point. It is something to get used to because you kind of instinctively want to do these gnarly tricks. and with HD0 and with, of course, analog, it's snappy fast. The DJI does sometimes have enough latency, it kind of throws you off. I think if you don't have a lot of experience flying, you're probably gonna crash, because there's sometimes when you get further out, it gets worse and worse. I've had it freeze up. I mean, I was 150 foot up in the air doing a power loop and just completely froze. I just disarmed and then hoped that it didn't hit one of the cars. But yeah, that was on that dude right there. Oh, not him, not my 7-incher, but my super duper mega ultralight right there. And it's my user error, my mistake. Things were set on auto, which was dumb. That quad flies too fast for DJI. Like as it's trying to ramp up my video signal, that quad is outrunning it basically. So yeah, you're doing 140 mile an hour loop up in the air, and you have it set to auto. So that was kind of dumb. So I went ahead and made sure I was on 200 milliwatt, and had no issues after that. Wonder if 3-bladed prop. You know what? It's funny you bring that up because I'm actually testing soon to come. I don't know if you've seen on my channel my last flight video. That's the Propsoff 40 secret, top secret frame that I'm working on. I have a whole bunch of props that I'm going to test. I've got all kinds of different 40 millimeter props. If you go into my posts, I have a picture of them so you can see exactly what they look like. I'm gonna go ahead and change those motors out. I'm gonna bring the KV considerably down, and then I'm gonna go with a much more aggressive pitch 3-bladed prop. So I have some gem fans to mess with. I do have the bi-blade HQ props that I'm gonna mess with. Newbie drone 40 millimeter tri-blades. HQ had come out with these really, I don't know if you could see that, really lightweight. But I believe the pitch is, 1/6 pitch. So pretty decent sized pitch on that. And then I got a hold of some Gem Fan 45s, and these are at a 1/8 pitch. So 1/8 pitch, 45 millimeter, going on the super secret Propsoff 40 prototype frame that it's an open frame. I'm not at liberty to show anything right now because I'm still working on testing. Neo, how's it going? Hey, dude. Been watching you for many years. Yes, indeed. It's been, we are actually celebrating my 7th year. Propsoff is 7 years old now. I started Propsoff. Originally, I was doing Scooter Pie, 2012 through 2019. But that was trademark name. So I had to change things up, and Propsoff was born. So we just celebrated, the Propsoff family just celebrated 7 years last month. I was going to do something, but I thought, Ogre, what's up, man? How you doing? Welcome into the chat. Just sitting here. I made this for TJ's birthday. So FPV Gaps. Birthday is today. Go say hi. Happy birthday to FPV Gaps. But I made him a Propsoff power ring for his birthday. I carry this one in my bag. It's kind of small. So I wanted to make one that was big. He ain't gonna lose it. Yeah, unfortunately, Ogre, I have a filter on my channel because my children watch it. So, just a FYI. You know what I found out this thing is good for? Comes with the bamboo printer. You print the handle, but the blade comes with it. I found it was really good for cleaning my when I get done soldering. It cleans the wood deck surface real nice. It gets all that yuck off of my board. And that's about all it's good for, because it is way too sharp to use it on the printer surface. Even much older videos solve a lot of issues in today's FPV world. I appreciate that. There's some videos content that I've kind of stayed away from for that very reason, because it does get frustrating when you put out like you really put a lot of effort into researching something and you put out a video on a specific part or piece or product, and then 3 months maybe it's discontinued. So I've gotten kind of frustrated with doing stuff like that. If it's discontinued faster than you can get the video out, it's kind of lame, That's cool, Ogre. I appreciate you understanding. My Beta FPV Meteor 65 Pro DJI is drifting and yawing really bad. I got it used and wondered if there was a motor getting weak or needs replacement. So you're saying it's drifting and yawing. Have you checked the props? That's the quickest and easiest thing to do. So if you want to, let me see here. Let me get it open. So I'll get my little baby tooth example. I would grab a hold of the bell on each one of them. Grab the bell so you can see you want to, let me zoom in more. So pretend this is your whoop. Grab the bell and then look inside at the E-clip in there. So while you're holding onto the bell, turn your prop, okay, and see if that E-clip's moving. Okay, if that E-clip is moving when you're you're holding the bell, if that E-clip moves when you do that, when you turn your prop, that's a problem. That motor's done. Some people say, like they'll say, oh, you can put some epoxy on that. Not really. The other thing is you can take, here, let me jump back over here. Not to jump back and forth too much, but I have some cones that I set up so I can make sure that it's flat. But if you redo your accelerometer, there is a stick command. So you can go into stick commands and change your accelerometer on the fly. So you just make sure it's disarmed, and then you set it down flat. You can get something to put your whoop motors. Here, let me grab a whoop here. We'll grab one of my old ones. So you just want to make sure that the motor screws are on a flat surface. Okay, that's what's kind of neat about this frame is all 4 of those motors are flat on there. I don't care if your flight controller is at an angle, as long as your 4 motors are flat. And then you can do stick commands when you're disarmed. You can do stick commands to recalibrate the accelerometer, and then try again. If it's clocking, you can also go into beta flight, plug it in, make sure it's on a surface where there's no vibration. So if you have like a fan or something, turn it off. And then you put it in the setup screen in beta flight and see if it's going like this. If it's doing that, then you have, some issue with the gyro. But those are some quick things that you can kind of look at to make sure if you're yawing. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you have motor plugs, I like to always do this. So in your flight controller, so where the motors connect to, if you're using plugs, I like to use a screwdriver such as something like that, that has a small tip. Use a flat blade, or I use this little Phillips, and I just right here inside where that pin is, you see that metal exposed on each one of these pins. I like to just take and push them down. Just kind of go in here and push in on that to seat that pin. Sometimes they can get, there's not a very good connection. So that's another thing. Yeah, it used to be good and recently switched out to new props and it's still bad. Yeah. Yeah, check to see if your motor slip. I do have a video on my channel for that. Slip shaft motors. I go through a bunch of scenarios of why the quad would act the way it does. Let's go back here. See if I can find it. I go through several scenarios, and then of course I have like better video, you know, so you can see it better. But here, if you go to my channel, and it's oops, don't know what that is. Oh, that's my power supply. 1S charging power supply. How this is kind of a cool video of how I do my charging and everything. I had it up for you. Now I messed it up. There it is. Your flying is terrible. You see this right here? So 2 years ago. This video would be something you'd want to look at. I go through all those kind of different scenarios in there as far as clocking and, you know, the quad acting the way it does or things of that nature. So that might be something you'd be interested in checking out. Possibly. I did have my prop was slipping on the shaft, so I tried to Loctite. It's good now, no slip. But never tried checking the shaft. Yeah, that's a problem with some of these motors. In the past, it was really bad. You'd have that slip shaft is something because it's kind of intermittent. It doesn't want to show itself too often, and then it gets worse. So then it's more often to the point where the quad will actually land like the battery's dead. So I go through all that in the video. I saw it in beta flight, so I'm wondering if it's bell. Yeah, yeah. In beta flight, if you're looking at the model on the setup screen and it's not moving at all, then you know your gyro's good. Man, you know all the tricks. You're welcome. Well, I tell you what, anyone else have a question? I feel bad at the S500 question came up earlier about Radio Link F F722, whether it would fit in an S500. I answered the question, but I don't know if he's still in here. Anybody else have any questions? Because I'm gonna clean this mess up. I'm gonna go wash this power ring for gaps and give this to him tomorrow night. Don't tell him it's a secret. It's a birthday secret. I'm giving him this power ring. You seen how much work it was to make it. I ain't even done yet. I still got to epoxy the exposed connections. Guys, so you guys are, I'll go back and look, and I'm gonna see who all came in to the live stream today, because you guys are the first people to come in the live stream at my new studio. I think it'd be kind of cool maybe to like put some LEDs under here, like right back in here, you know, and then like underneath my shelf over here to kind of illuminate that area. I don't know. I'm not really a fancy schmancy person, so I ain't gonna go too crazy with it. But it'd be kind of neat to have a little bit of, you know, maybe some purple and green over here and a little purple and green over there. I thought about putting my Joker gate up, but it just takes up too much space. You guys seen the Joker gate, right? I appreciate it, Happy RC. Yeah, we'll get some more content here. I'm working on it. Took a long time because I had to take all of my stuff down. So like the whole entire this whole corner was an absolute disastrous mess. And I had to go through everything. I streamlined. I got rid of a bunch of junk. And then I found a bunch of stuff that I forgot I didn't even have anymore. I got some boxes over here of stuff that's like, I got some big old 8-inch props, and there's just all kinds of random stuff from over the years. So I got to go through all that. But it did take a while to get the studio back in order, and I haven't really been putting out a whole lot of content because of it. And then we had the museum race, we had the Buckeye race, the Christmas special. Like, oh, it's been hobby hours spent well away from the camera. Purple and green around the banner, maybe. Looks sweet as well. Oh, it looks sweet as is. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I might put maybe a little bit of just a couple little pieces of cob light. Nothing crazy. I do have some of these other LEDs here, but there's no purple. Leaves, how's it going? Hey everybody. We're just getting ready to shut the live stream down. I just built this Propsoff power ring for our race gates as a birthday gift to the Gaps. And yeah, so I'm getting ready to head off. I gotta go get my son from school, so it's time. I appreciate everybody that came in the live stream and hung out and asked questions and kind of get the juices flowing. I'm still kind of getting used to all of this stuff because behind the scenes, I've kind of got some things in places I don't know if I like it or not. Some things are in my way and I can't see. I got a light kind of shining on my eye. I'm hard to read the chat. But yeah, let's go fly. 8th, March 8th, Paddock Pub, Groveport, Ohio, March 8th. Come see us. I'll be announcing. God willing, I'll be there to announce, okay? And we're going to have a lot of fun racing that track. FPV Gaps is going to set up a wicked awesome track. We're going to have like a sloped tunnel. We're going to have, it's just crazy. Have a great evening. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming in. Of course, subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff. And I'll try to work on some neat things to come up with. I've just kind of been testing so many different things. Come up with some neat content. So, but yeah, y'all have a great day and enjoy the breeze.